Okay, so I'm going to attempt at a makeup tutorial today. It's okay, honey. You're fine. You're fine. Off to a really great start, obviously. Are we done? Anything else? I didn't think so. Anyways, okay. Here we go. So before I do my makeup, I always like to wash my hands because you are going to be touching your face and you don't want all those germs on your face. So wash your hands. I always prep everything first. I just want everything to be right at my fingertips. I don't want to be looking for anything. I already washed my face, moisturized. Always start with a sunscreen. The foundation I'm using today actually has SPF in it, but I always put a sunscreen on just because I don't know what foundation I'll end up going in with that day. So I'm going to use the Aveeno Positively Mineral Sensitive Skin Sunscreen. That's a tongue twister. You can use whatever sunscreen you want. I don't love this one because it does have a white cast to it, but I have it and I don't want it to go to waste, so this is what I'm going to use. I do have a little mirror right here. That's what this is. So if you see me looking off to the side, I'm just looking into that mirror. So rub this in, and it's really not bad once you have it rubbed in. It doesn't make you have like a white cast. Okay, and then I'll go in with a primer. I love this primer. It's by Tula. It's called the Face Filter Blurring and Moisturizing Primer. Honestly, on days when I don't wear makeup, I still put this on. It's like creamy white, and then when you rub it into your skin, it almost like acts as a tinted moisturizer. It's not though, it just feels like a face moisturizer, but it almost just kind of blurs everything and takes away some of your, like I have a little bit of redness, so it kind of just blends that in a little bit. So on days when I don't wear makeup, I put this on and I feel like it just makes me feel somewhat put together. That's kind of a long shot, but you know, I do it anyways. And then I use this Rose Glow and Get It. It's like a cooling and brightening eye balm. So it's just kind of like chapstick. You roll it up and I rub it under both of my eyes. And then I just take my fingers and kind of blend it a little bit. And like I said, on days when I don't wear makeup, this is what I do. And then I'm good for the day. I feel comfortable enough to just like go out and about like this, and I don't just feel like I hopped out of bed and, you know, look like I haven't slept, which most of the time I haven't, because, you know, I have a 3-month-old. And then I always put chapstick on because my lips are super dry. Okay, so then we'll start in with foundation. The one that I'm going to use today is the It Cosmetics. It's a CC cream, and it does have SPF in it, so I wouldn't have to put the sunscreen on, but I always do just as a precaution. So I just take one squirt and put it on the back of my hand, and I use a beauty blender. You can use whatever tool you choose. I also have this It Cosmetics makeup brush, foundation brush, that it actually came with, but I just prefer the finish of a beauty blender. So I just dab a little bit off and start pouncing it on my face. And it's better to start with a little bit because you can always build it, and it's harder to take it off than it is to add it on. So I just start blending it all over my face. And I really like this foundation because it's not super heavy, but I feel like it gives you pretty good coverage. Like it definitely covers my redness as compared to this side. So then I take a little bit more. And a little bit goes a long way. I usually only have to use half of a pump to a full pump on my whole face. Take the rest onto my forehead. And always take it onto your ears and your neck, because you don't want your face and your neck to be different colors, because that's just not a good look at all. And I always take my foundation onto my eyelids because you can see my veins and I don't like that look. All right, so then after that, go in with concealer if you want. You don't have to. Some people like just foundation and they're good with that. But I always use just a little bit of concealer just right underneath my eyes to cover, you know, my lovely bags. It's fun. Okay. Blend that in the same way you do your foundation. And if you're kind of a beginner with makeup, if you think it's blended in, my like rule of thumb is if you think it's blended, just blend a little bit more because that's not going to hurt you. And you want to make sure that the foundation and the concealer is just really pressed into your skin. And then I always take my leftover concealer and put it like on my smile lines and then right around my nose because I do have a little bit of redness on the corners of my nose. And then my smile lines always pop by the end of the day. I guess that means that I smile too much, but that's not a problem to me. Okay, and then once you have all of your liquids on, you're gonna wanna set everything. So I am gonna use, what is this? The Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I always just tap a little bit into the lid and use the same beauty blender. I always use just the opposite side. Grab a little bit, you don't wanna use too much. And just go right under your eye. Make sure you get up in the corner so there's no creasing. And you want to do the same thing on the other eye. And then I always hit these same spots. And then once I'm done with that, whatever product's left in here, I don't pour more in here. I just take a big fluffy brush and get the product on there. And I start by tapping it on my face just to kind of lightly set the rest of my foundation, and then I just very lightly brush over it. And if you feel like you don't know if you've set everywhere, a nice little trick is if you just take your fingers and you lightly touch. Your skin shouldn't feel sticky, it should feel like there's powder on it. And that'll just be good because when you take powder products on top of that, it's not going to smudge or remove anything that you already have on. So then next I go in with bronzer. And I am using this Park Avenue Princess palette by Tarte. You can use whatever bronzer you have. I like the Physicians Formula one. That's a drugstore. And then I just take a semi-fluffy brush and just dip in there. And just rub it on my cheeks. Focus more like under your cheekbone. Now this isn't contouring, this is just bronzing to like give your face a little bit of dimension. If I'm just going for that natural look, I don't really contour. And then I always put it down here to hide, or try to hide, the double chin edge. And then I just put a little bit on my nose so it doesn't look like you just left it bare. All right. And then I go in with blush, which I really like. I either use the NARS, the Orgasm, or I use the Laura Geller. I don't know what shade this is. But they both kind of have a little bit of like a sheen or a shimmer to them. And I just like that for a more natural look. So I just rub it on my cheeks, and then I put a little bit on my nose. And blush is the first thing that will leave your face throughout the day. For some reason, it just fades super quickly. So don't be afraid to go a little bit heavier in the morning or whenever you're applying it, just so you know it will stay. So now that we have blush, highlight is next, which is one of my faves. I love a good glow. So I just take a highlighter brush, and this Wet n Wild highlighter is amazing, and it's like $5, I think. It's so good. So just grab a little bit on your brush, and I always tap the excess off, and just take it on your cheekbones. I always take a little bit on the bridge of my nose. I don't put it on the end of my nose. That's a personal preference. I just don't like the look of a glistening like point of your nose. And I also don't put it on my Cupid's bow because TMI, I tend to like sweat on my upper lip, and I don't want to draw any more attention to that. So I honestly just put it on my cheeks and right here. And then sometimes if I feel like it's too bright, or if I'm like not feeling that bright of a highlight, I just take the Beauty Blender and just tap it on there. And I don't know if I said, make sure your Beauty Blender is damp and you want it to be squishy. If it's dry, it's just gonna smear your products. It's not gonna soak them into your skin. Okay, so after highlight, we'll move on to brows and eyes. For my brows, I'm going to use Makeup Revolution. It's just like a brow pencil. I'm gonna scoot my mirror in a little bit closer to do this. Now, I don't do too much with my brows just because I'm not huge into the huge fluffy brows, and I feel like my brows are fine. They're just kind of light. So I just fill them in a little bit and fill in like the sparse areas. So I just take it and start under my brow, and I just line the underneath of my brow first, but leave out this front section. So just line that and then start slowly filling in, just with little strokes. Don't make lines because you'll see the individual lines. So I just fill in with small strokes like this, and I still just leave that front part. I don't touch it yet. And then I just brush that product through. And then once I'm okay with the way the rest of the brow looks, I take very, very light strokes and go right at the front, because on a natural brow, the front is a little bit lighter and then it gradually gets darker. So I try to mimic that when I draw my eyebrow on. Then we'll just repeat on this side. Still leaving that front part out. And then slowly just add a couple little lines and then brush the product through. And that's all I do for brows. Since I'm going for more of a natural look today, for eyeshadow, sometimes I'll just take my bronzer and just pop it in the crease, but I have this palette out, so I'm just gonna take this palette and just use a brown, a light brown, clearly one of my favorite colors in the palette, and just pop it right in my crease just to give it a little bit of something and not leaving it just completely blank, which this brush I think has a little bit left over from my makeup from the other day. But I just do that. And this is not a step you have to do. If you like the look of just plain, that's totally fine. I just like a little bit of dimension on my eyelid. And then sometimes I'll just take an even fluffier brush and just blend it out even more. That's it for that. And then once I have all of that done, I go ahead and set my face. I do it before I do my mascara, just because too many times have I set my face and then my mascara is running down my face after I do my mascara. So I go ahead and set it now, and I love the Urban Decay All Nighter. I'm sure if you've seen any makeup tutorial, they use this. It's great. So just spray a generous amount, and then you're going to want to let this dry before you do anything else, because if you touch it, then it's going to smear. So I let it dry probably about 95% of the way, and then right before it's completely dry, I take my same damp Beauty Blender and I just lightly tap over everything, and it just kind of melts it all together to give it more of like a seamless look. All right, and then mascara time. So I always curl my lashes. Oh, sorry. Which I just started doing this again not that long ago, and I feel like it does make a big difference. I don't know why I ever stopped. So I just curl it and just kind of pump it a couple of times just to give it a nice little curl. I don't have the best natural lashes, I'm not gonna lie. I have been using a lash serum, so I'll keep you guys posted if I think that actually works. One thing that I do believe makes a big difference is lash primer. This is just from the drugstore. It's Covergirl Lash Blast Amplify Primer. So it's like a whitish color, and you just apply it to your lashes like you would normal mascara. Excuse me while I make my ugly mascara face. And I always do the top lashes first and then go back and do the bottom lashes. So you'll look like a crazy person. Just nice white lashes. And you'll want to let that dry for just about 30 seconds. And then go back in with whatever mascara you would normally use. I've been using this Lash Stiletto. Okay, let's be real, I use like 4 mascaras. So I'll go in with this next, and then at the end I'll go in with, yeah, sure, this Voluminous Carbon Black. I love this one. It's the blackest mascara I've ever found, which I enjoy that. So then you'll go back in on top of that primer. And I always just start at the base and just hold it and then blink, just to get the base of your lash nice and full. And then once I have that, I'll go and I'll flick it on the tops, and I'll even take it on top of my lashes and go down, just so I make sure I get the ends. And don't worry about getting mascara everywhere. Story of my life, I do it literally every day. But don't worry about it, I'll show you how to get that off in a second. So apply that. Let me do the other eye really quickly. Get the base first. I just kind of blink and kind of slowly roll a little bit. I mean, you don't have to take tips from me. My lashes are not fabulous. I do think they're getting longer with that serum though, I'm not gonna lie. And then just go on top. Okay, and then I dip back in for the bottom lashes. All right, so there's that. And I'm crazy, so I go in with another one, like I said, the Carbon Black, and just give it a couple of coats on top of that one, just to make them extra black, because who doesn't like black eyelashes? And on the bottom. Okay, and then I have it up there. Do you see? Okay, so the trick is I take a Q-tip and make sure it's dry. I used to be the person that would lick it and then swipe, and that is literally just gonna take off all your makeup. So with a dry Q-tip on your dry mascara, just slowly and lightly brush it off, and it's gone, and it didn't smudge my eyeshadow. So great tip. Okay, so after this, you're pretty much done. If you're wanting to wear a lipstick, a lip gloss, whatever you want, that's fine. I love the NYX Butter Gloss if I'm wanting just a gloss, or if I want a little bit of a color, I'll go in with the Maybelline Superstay. It's an ink, it's like a crayon, so super easy to apply. I have foundation lips, so let me just wipe those off. All right, so you just apply that. And then might as well just put some gloss on top. You can wear this gloss alone because it is tinted, but I like to put that color underneath just to give it a little bit extra. And then that's it. That's all I do on like an everyday basis. If I did it all and I didn't talk and take as much time as I did today, it would take me maybe like 7 minutes. And yeah, so that's what I do. If you guys like this, first off, give me a little bit of a break because that was my first time doing this. But if you did enjoy it, I can do more. I can do more of a glam look. I can do a better eyeshadow. you know, more colors. We can do some contouring. Just let me know. If you didn't like it, that's fine too. I can be a one and done type of gal. That's great. But yeah, if you've watched all this and suffered through it, thanks for watching.